Days away from Georgia's opener with Marshall. I bet you didn't think we'd get here, but we did. And we've got another edition of what we were hearing for you over on Dawg Post. Can put it up on the screen real quick. Want to take advantage of that. Look, you see the QR code. I would advise you to go ahead and check it out. We've got $1 right now gets you until the Alabama game. So you sign up, costs you $1 over at Dawg Post, and you can do that by clicking the QR code and take it from there. And one of the things we're talking about in what we're hearing is, what it was like this off season, how there just wasn't a lot of stuff going on. Is Gunnar Stockton ready for this season? And then we spent Friday night in Nashville watching Jared Curtis and Nashville Christian play Davidson Academy. Very thankful for the folks at Davidson for having us. And Jared Curtis put on a show. We're going to show that tonight at 7 o'clock on this channel. You're going to make sure you're not going to want to miss that. But in the meantime, I wanted to talk about one of the things that was said about Jared Curtis, and we'll just start it from there. And you can read the rest over on Dawg Post. But this is a quote from Jonathan Quinn, who played in the NFL for a while. He was and he's been a collegiate coach as well. Now he's at Davidson, where he not so far from where he played in college at Middle Tennessee. He said, "I've seen a lot of 5-star quarterbacks all across the country. He's right up there with every single one of them." Jared Curtis was extremely impressive Saturday night. In the time I've watched guys play, he's the most impressive quarterback I've seen play or watched when I'm there. And I will not forget when I watched him play for the first time. I'll remember exactly what it felt like to hear the ball coming out of Matthew Stafford's hands when I saw that and heard it. Michael Vick and Zamir White was probably the best high school football player I've ever seen in person. This is that same sort of magic. Now, we talk about it a lot in the 7 o'clock, and there's a bunch of highlights. I don't want to spoil that one. So all three of us from Dawg Post were up there. But the level of competition is not overwhelmingly high, but I don't think that's kind of irrelevant. The level of competition doesn't prevent him from throwing the ball like a missile into the corner of an end zone. I was right there for that. I think he's an exceptionally gifted player and special. And Georgia, was fortunate to keep him in this signing class. And fast forwarding to another quarterback, this time the starter at Georgia, Gunnar Stockton. I think, I talk to a lot of different people, a lot of different types of people. Not everyone is always has pom-poms at the ready. One of the quotes, and it's in the story of what we were hearing today, it says, talking about Gunnar Stockton, "I hope he gets a better feel for the pocket. Sometimes that's one of those things that takes time. Sometimes guys don't develop that at all. I'm not sure where we are in the process. We'll see on Saturday." So that person who's been around football for decades was concerned with some of what he saw from Gunnar in the Sugar Bowl in terms of pocket awareness. I think it was very specific to the Sugar Bowl. It may have been talking about the Texas game as well. I can't recall, but I don't know where we are in that process. I'm not sure I qualify to even say if he has issues with pocket. Going back to Jared Curtis thing, one thing that Ryan and I both saw Gunnar a fair amount, because there were times in COVID there wasn't much to do. And then the year after in 21, going to see Gunnar before the Tennessee game and a couple other times, maybe the Jefferson game and the Tennessee game, I think that season. Yes. Gunnar Stockton's ability he was completely at ease at Raven. There was nothing that really, I don't think, challenged him. It was like slow motion for him. I think with Jared Curtis, it's the same thing at Nashville Christian. I think the level that Gunnar played was actually higher in the grand scheme of things because he was seeing more teams. He got the ability to see Atlanta teams that weren't, that were loaded up with some kids, played Jefferson, etc. I don't know a lot about Nashville Christian's scheduling, But if what we saw the other night was indicative, it's just not overwhelmingly challenging for a guy who certainly could be a first-round draft pick in the NFL. But that's always the case with, like, if you were to talk about Jefferson and who they played with Malachi Starks and Sammy Brown and guys, most of the time they weren't playing high level people. But it was a higher level than what we saw in Nashville. For Gunner, I think it's so. What I don't know is, does he get his confidence from being cocky or is it from being prepared? You don't see it as much now, what I'm talking about, when he's at Georgia. He knew in high school no one on that field could touch him. While I'm on the field, of course, I don't hear him. I could hear him talking on the field at Raven. He just would make people look stupid. You're not going to do that in college. And so moving forward, he's got to play quarterback more. And if there's one thing I've said about Gunner Stockton more than anything is this guy knows how to play quarterback. He understands it. He's used to it. It's something that he's done for obviously a long time now, 7 years, as a starter at a high school or in college. And he's very comfortable playing that spot. I don't know how that will translate this year. To me, there are 3 massive things at Georgia for this fall. One, more than probably anything, is, are you going to stay healthy or not? If you stay healthy, this team has as good a shot as anybody to win the national championship. Number 2, is your line of scrimmage play better or not? Because if it's not, then they're probably not going to win the national championship. It's that simple. I mean, like, they beat up Clemson last year, but after that, like, they weren't like doing what they wanted to do to a lot of teams. I mean, they had a landslide on Clemson in the second half. Most of their games were like the first half with Clemson, where, I think Clemson has a really good defense, particularly on the defensive line. I do not think they have a good offensive line, and they could not compete with Georgia's defenders. But as we got into SEC play a season ago, the level of offensive line got better that Georgia faced, and the defense did all it could do, but sometimes it couldn't stop people when it really needed to. When you think about, they did a lot against Ole Miss, but they didn't do everything they had to do, which was kind of too much in that game to give the offense a chance. And then secondly, I think Clemson's defense is really pretty good. I don't know what it was about that game, but Georgia sort of came alive in the second half and did what they wanted to do, running it. That didn't happen the rest of the season. And so that's the question is, have they gotten better on the offense and defensive line? If line of scrimmage has not gotten better, it's going to be hard. And finally, the third one I would say is Gunner Stockton prepared to do this? I can't say how we know the answer to that question. I don't know how we know the answer to that for most of these guys. I mean, Lenore Sellers, Arch, Julian Sayin. I mean, there are so many guys who've not started a season that we are in a new world of college football. Part of the reason, speaking of Clemson, that people seem to love Cade Klubnik so much is I think they know him. They are aware of him. I do not. I've talked with people who have Clemson sympathies, and they are a lot more skeptical than the national people are. And I watched him play a lot. He has athletic ability. He is gifted for sure. He doesn't seem to meet the moment sometimes, and I think that's a problem. But raw ability is a big thing, but even there, I got to say, I'm not sure. So maybe he can use this as motivation. Maybe not. Maybe it'll be the same. The guy started for 3 years now. This is his 3rd year starting. So unless something has changed, I think we're going to see something very similar, which is, leads me to, we don't know what we're going to get with Gunner. We don't know what we're going to get with Arch. We know what we're going to get probably with Cade Klubnik. We know what we're going to get with, Nuss at LSU. Those two will face each other. I mean, Nussmeier can really throw the football, but he needs help, and he doesn't have a ton of it. At Georgia, Gunner needs help too. His deep ball, his accuracy, he is a good quarterback on that front. I think the challenge for Gunner is, and I got a little bit more to say about this now that I think about it this way, is, is this a time thing where like he needs time, he needs reps with the ones playing against real teams? He got about a game and a half of that last year. Does he need 5 games? Well, that puts you right on top of the Alabama game at that stage. Like, he will have needed that much time. And it's possible he might. I mean, Carson Beck didn't come alive until Auburn a season in 23, I don't think. Stetson Bennett, I would say it took Stetson about a season, which, as it turns out, was about the Tennessee game of 21, because he had started some of those games in 20. And one time, a long time ago, Mike Bobo told me when either he was at Colorado State or at the offensive coordinator at Georgia. I think he was still the offensive coordinator at Georgia in 13, 14, somewhere in that time period. He said, I wish people would just realize these guys all grow at different time lengths. So we're going to see with Gunner. I think he knows how to operate. He knows how to play that spot, and his ability to run will open things up a little bit more maybe than it did against Notre Dame. Notre Dame's defense was legit. Their offense was terrible. And I think that you saw that. Their offense hardly moved the ball, hardly scored. So when they had the one drive that they sort of needed to close the game out, that's when they had their one drive. And that's how football works. You don't know when you got to do it, but you got to do it when you got to do it. We'll see you in Athens on Saturday. Make sure you're taking advantage of our offer. Thanks for watching. 7 o'clock video with Jared Curtis. You're not going to miss that one.